Ken, in this, what we call the silly season,
yes.
11 days, Jalas?
11 nights.
To go to the general election.
Yeah.
Are you seeing a lot of ushenziness out there?
Well, there has been a lot of ushenziness. I think the latest is what happened in Marsabit yesterday.
Yes.
Where, supporters of two candidates supporting the same presidential candidates decide to sort it out physically, which is what I call now ushenzi kamili. You know, there are levels of ushenzi, if you remember. There's ushenzi where you just do the basic, small, silly thing, telling somebody I'm around the corner and you're 2 hours down, or wherever you are. And then there's ushenzi kamili,
yes.
where you are actually a savage. And you'll savage others for whatever reason that you put forward. Because, for instance, if you look at those two fellows who are fighting, surely the decision will be made at the ballot box, not with pangas, not with stones, not with insults. But then again, the more I think about it, Jeff, the more I've come to fundamentally appreciate that it's about the question of human consciousness, stroke maturity. Many times we have said that Africa is not democratically mature, and I say it is not Africa that is not democratically mature, because Africa is an inanimate rock and soil and trees. That's what Africa is. It is the individuals, right from the politician to their supporters, and I'm talking about maturity in its real sense. There is a writer, I forget his name, who did an analogy that really made me, it really hit home. He said that many of us may be 50, 60, 70, 80, but we still are at the age of 15 years old. So that when a politician gets on a platform and starts outrightly, inciting people, knowing very well that that is not going to help anything, but it's just going to get him votes. That's what I call ushenzi kamili, and I call it immaturity of the worst kind. And they need to mature. And those of us who have a sense of consciousness, because by the way, there are some levels of consciousness I talk about ushenzi kamili. You're an animal. Your responses are those of a hyena, a beast. And then I talk about the mushenzi. And then I talk about a gray area where there is ungwana ushenzi, and that's the middle. When I talk about ushenzi, it's thumbs up. When I talk ungwana, it's thumbs up. When I talk about ushenzi, it's thumbs down. And then there's another character who hangs here in the middle. When it is convenient, he goes towards ushenzi. When it's not convenient, ungwana, when it's not convenient, he goes towards ushenzi. And it keeps oscillating. And it is time we really pushed it. And it takes a big push, just like it takes, the space challenger when it's going to space. It takes a lot of energy for it to defy gravity. That is what we need to kick. And I've made this point severally, that what is needed in this country, post the hardware, constitution that we put in place, is working on the software. Jeff, this engine that is running what you're doing in this hot station is run on software. If you don't have software in the computer that I'm seeing here, you don't have software on your phone, or your software has a glitch, my friend, you will not be on air. Now, what we have is human software glitches, which in my mind, I'm clear, amount to what I call immaturity. And this is the disease that is debeveling Africa.
And Ken, why are we always in perennial election mode? Like, for instance, we've got 11 days to the poll.
Yes.
Already, I saw in today's paper, Gideon Moi is being considered as a running mate to Munya in 22.
Oh yes, so that when you vote again, you start again, and it becomes one cycle. But then again, let me tell you something, Jeff. You're a well-traveled person. In the US, we talk about football players and their stars. We talk about musicians and their stars. We talk about businessmen. You will talk about like Steve Jobs or the Chinese who came here. But who's the star in Kenya?
Politician.
It's the politician. That's all we think about. So that even when you run possibly a station like this and you make a lot of money, where do you go and dump yourself? In politics.
Or when you steal.
Yes, or you steal, you then go dump yourself in politics. And because of the immaturity quotient of our people, led on by their leaders, then tunasema ni mwizi wetu. I have never forgotten. Some time back, I think it was Mheshimiwa Sonko had an issue in Kibera. And, he was taken to court. And there was a riot outside the court saying, mwizi wetu, mwizi wetu. And they're saying, set them free.
And they were serious about this.
Yes, they were serious about it. I know in the Kanware of a politician who went to, his rural area and said, I'm being called a thief in Nairobi. What is wrong if I take from Jalas and I bring it to you? The people said nothing. And that's what I'm talking about, immaturity. And that's what we must work on. One of the things I keep on saying is that it's not genetic. It is not genetic. My historical journey, just reading into who Africans have been, point to the fact that at some point in time we were doing magic in Egypt.
Yes.
Black Africa basically was part of that Egyptian civilization. There are more pyramids in the Sudan than there are in Egypt. If you talk about Western Africa, there are still unearthing cities that were built before London that were 3 stories. Talk about Great Zimbabwe. Talk about Malawi. Malawi means the land of flames. We made iron that was more superior than anything that had been found across the world, which means that we have what it takes. But it's a question of consciousness, and that is a spiritual thing. Hatujifahamu. In fact, I keep on saying that the only thing, one of the things that I agreed with Moi is whenever he said Mwafrika hajifahamu. I have a big issue, for instance, when we have a problem and the Prime Minister takes it to the British ambassador. I said, oh my God. And by the way, that doesn't mean that the issue is not an issue. It's an issue. But when you take it to the British ambassador, what are you saying? It strikes me like my son coming to tell me, Dad, my other son, Peter or James, has done something. And then they start saying, I didn't do. No. We must resolve our own problems. We must understand that it behooves us to raise in consciousness. And Jeff, I know we can do it. I know we can do it because at a very basic level, all of us woke up here. Jalas woke up, the good lady woke up, you woke up, you picked up a nicely ironed shirt, which means you have a sense of consciousness as far as how you look. So for us, the outward thing looks, we really play to the outward thing.
Yes.
Today, if I buy a big car, I go to my village, people start calling me senator just because of a big car. It doesn't matter what's inside you.
You are mheshimiwa.
When mheshimiwa, hata wanaanza kuita mheshimiwa, simply because you're driving a big car and you're wearing a suit that looks like it's not a mutumba.
Yeah.
I mean, that is total nonsense. And whoever is going to liberate this country and whoever is going to liberate Africa must understand it's about the software.
Wow. What is it going to take, Ken? Because when it comes to this election again, the hate meter is starting to peak at red.
Yes.
It's starting to peak. You can feel the hate.
Feel it. Yeah, you can feel it.
And not just physically out there like you mentioned, but also on social media.
You know, one of the things, and this is why I'm on the Kenya Daima platform, one of the things I know about the human being is that narratives matter. All right, the people who purport to be leaders basically are the ones who are, the hate meter does not just rise. It doesn't wake up and enter your house or my house. There is somebody pushing a narrative. But on the other hand, one thing I'm happy about is that there is a group of people also pushing a narrative, which includes Kenya Daima, includes the church. I can increasingly see even youth on TV and on radio who are saying it doesn't matter which side you vote, but to begin with, let us maintain the peace. Because, by the way, I have always wondered what benefit it is for anybody, for anyone to lose their lives in their name. So that somebody dies because of Ken? No, I'm not Jesus. I'm not Jesus. I'm not God. You can say you're dying for God. And at the end of the day, I can imagine if we take steps backwards to all the people who've died for a political leader or other, I can assure you their families are suffering. The politicians don't give a damn, if I may use that word.
Absolutely.
Is it possible to lead a nation from a perspective of non-violence? I say, look at Gandhi. Makes a fantastic case. Gandhi never told anybody lift a finger. Gandhi always was for non-violence. And Gandhi, by the way, using that non-violence platform of his, would mobilize 300 million Indians. He would not even carry them on a truck. They would come to where he is. And when Gandhi said, we're not going to work, they never went to work. What did Gandhi do? Gandhi went for the spirit of the human being. And I keep on saying, Jeff, the good lady here, if you wanted to, ask her hand in marriage, you don't slap her and beat her and threaten her that if you don't marry me, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill your family. I'm going to do this. You go for her heart. And when you go for her heart, it doesn't matter hata kama hauna shilingi. Anasema tuko na wewe. And that is why sometimes you see guys following people like Jalas and you're wondering, why are they following Jalas? Lakini Jalas ameguza roho. That's what it's about. And that's what God has spirit.
Yeah.
I think what we have in the collective we call the political class is a group of people who don't understand what it means to be human. And once you understand what it means to be human, because I will not want to say that they are irreparably damaged, but I want to say that they are groveling. They are operating at our lowest common denominator, and by extension, they pass that on to their people. I think we need, and in many cases, I say, by the way, sometimes I'm asked, who can it be? And I can say, maybe it's you, Jeff. Maybe it is you, Jalas. But maybe like Moses, you're telling God, why me?
Right.
You know, I can only speak on radio.
Yes.
How will people listen to me? But I can assure you one thing: if you have what it takes, and you are anointed by God, and you know that you've been charged to liberate this country and to liberate the people of Africa, go for it.
Or the guy who was swallowed by the whale, what was his name? Jonah.
Yeah. Yes, and spat out.
It was in here.
Yes, I mean there are stories. Even a guy who's he's been locked up with the lions.
Yes.
And the lions become cats.
They become pussycats.
They become pussycats because God is with you. Yeah.
Ken, I want to talk more about this because this is important. You know, people need to be reminded of this. This is very important and crucial.
Yeah. Because for how long, are we going to remember?
Jalas, we are like Ken said, we're like animals. You have to reiterate. And
actually, if you think about it, and I want to answer that question, for how long? Think about the management of Citizen, TV, Citizen Radio, the group. The reminding is every day.
Yeah.
Did we do? Didn't we do? You review these programs every day. What type of people do you want here? How do we fund this? What do we do with lunch? It's a constant thing. I want to take you home. I'm sure you guys have kids.
Yes.
You're reminding your child every day. It takes you, first of all, 18 years to get that guy to a place where he can get an idea, and he starts telling you, now I'm a man, and you know he's not a man. And you're constantly working to make him or her better and better. That is the burden of leadership. The burden of leadership is to keep tightening the knots. And in any case, there's a fundamental difference between management and leadership. Management is about maintaining the status quo and making things run as they should on a day-to-day basis. Leadership is taking people to where they've never been. That is leadership. So, Jalas, to that question, it is every day. And that is why we have an election every 5 years.
That's right.
Every 5 years, and somebody comes and casts the net outwards. But the things I'm hearing really make my heart bleed, because when I listen to majority of the politicians, we are still on that neither hot nor cold position. I'm thinking about the world. For instance, let me give you an example. Yesterday I saw a news article. I don't know whether you guys saw it on, I think it was on BBC. I usually scan the news, and they're saying by the year 2040 there will be no combustion engines in the West, in America, in Britain.
None.
They're actually working towards moving all those cars.
That's 23 years away.
That is 23 years away. And we have guys here now, beating their chests in Turkana. If you don't give us this, you're not going to mine oil. And I've said many times, by the way, the only reason why the Muzungu has allowed us to get to that oil is because he will not need it.
He doesn't need it anymore.
In the next few years. So you can take it. In fact, they've always known there's been oil. But the African does not get it. Now they think that we are going to be the next Saudi Arabia. You're going to be either showering with your oil, or I don't know what you're going to be doing with it. But by the time we get there, we have fought over it, we have killed ourselves over it, and we're getting nowhere.
And these people won't need it.
They won't even need it. I mean, today, what our universities should be talking about, apart from being on the streets and asking for more money, and by the way, I have a big problem with these university fellows. In developed countries, universities actually earn their own money from research, from trainings. In fact, I read books of universities of Pennsylvania, leading a charge in terms of some management thought. Here we have nothing. All we have are universities that are just conveyor belts, producing half-baked young people. Not because of again, it's not genetic, but because of ile mutambo tuko nayo. Our universities, going back to what I was saying, should be thinking about batteries, because cars are going to be running on batteries. This is what we should be making. In fact, one of the points that was made by one minister in Britain is that they are concerned that they don't have enough batteries. So what is going to happen? Battery factories are going to rise. And what is going to happen to you and me? In fact, they're saying diesel. I drive a diesel car. They're saying diesel is the worst thing that can happen. So it means your car and my car are gone.
We're finished.
Are finished. That's where we are. And we're still running around here naked in slippers that are half cut, saying, who you. Nonsense. Utter nonsense. Ushenzi kamili.
It's the Hot Breakfast with Jeff and Jalango.